Yeah, and then on top of that, they paid him. So
Hmm.
we're gonna get into our next topic. We have some teams that are obviously at the top tier, and they're the cream of the crop, and we have some teams on the bottom, obviously, that we won't really get into too much this week. But we're gonna get into the top five most complete teams.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And so, looking around the NFL here, there's certain teams that, obviously there's teams that are good, there's teams that are bad. But when you talk about complete teams, it's kind of doing it in multiple phases, really all
in
phases,
totality,
right? Offense, defense, special teams, pass defense, run offense, pass offense, right? Who are the teams that, have the most going for them in all aspects of that? Usually that turns out to be the top teams, and we see like top three teams right now. I don't think people could argue with this. It's really the Bills, Chiefs, and the Eagles, and those three teams kind of have them.
on
Most of
all
those things
cylinders.
clicking. They're able to beat you different ways. They know what they're good at. They know what you're not good at. They're gonna take away what you're good at. And yeah, all three of those teams firing all cylinders. We saw the spectacular game with the Bills and the Chiefs this past weekend, and we just finished talking about the Eagles and being that undefeated team after winning against the Cowboys to keep that streak going. After those three, right, to make a top five, it gets a little more dicey. Now you kind of going off, some recent history or potential or other things to kind of make
Go
these
into
teams
that.
fit that mold, right? And right off the bat, you have the Ravens, who we talked about, right? They've showed a lot of promise. They've been able to do a lot of things. They showed, offensively that they could put up points. We saw
Special
that.
teams as well.
Special teams. Look, Harbaugh's a special teams guy. They always have that. When you have a guy like Justin Tucker back there too. I mean,
Right.
certainly makes a lot of things easier. And defensively, I mean, we've seen them shut out the Bills. One of the best teams in the league for a half. Before they were able to get things rolling. So the Ravens are definitely up there. We could talk about the Chargers. The Chargers a little more up and down,
Yeah.
but they found ways to get wins. You know, Defensively, a lot of upgrades. A huge upgrade just having Derwin James healthy.
Yeah. J.C.
Um,
Jackson,
yeah,
Khalil
you bring
Mack.
up J.C. Jackson. You have Khalil Mack, right? Huge improvements defensively, right? Really, just they're still trying to get all that together. Offensively, we know what Herbert can do. They're missing Keenan Allen still so far, but they've been able to come out and get some big wins so far, and
Right.
they're sitting at 4-2, and we got the Niners, right? The Niners, they just took a loss to the Falcons, but one of the best defenses in the league, and offensively, they kind of just dominate you running the ball, and then kind of picking their spots when they want to go over the top and air it out on you. And then we got the Bucks, who obviously Tom Brady still running that offense, and thought to be one of the best defenses in the league coming into the year. Um, Really kind of struggled so far. Really not what we
Yeah.
expect from the Bucks, but
Their offense is just not what it is right
yeah,
now.
and maybe that's because the receivers in and out, but then they got the receivers back, and then I don't know what it is. Is it Tom
I
Brady
think.
missing time?
Yeah. I think maybe
Maybe it's a little bit of
of
everything,
the
but yeah, they're certainly another team, and you know,
the whole OTAs. He wasn't there, and
yeah, and so and
they're
so
getting a lot of reps in now. So
looking at it, I mean, if I had to round out that top five with two more of those teams, I mean, I'd probably say the Ravens, and then I don't know, maybe the Chargers or the
or the
Bucks,
Bucks.
just
Yeah.
off potential, you know.
Yeah, I'd probably go with the Bucks only because of obviously Tom Brady,
Mm-hmm.
and we've seen how sometimes it takes Tom Brady a little bit to get on track.
Well, the other thing I would say too, one, I think the Bucks defense could be better than the Chargers defense,
Yeah,
even with all the pieces that we talked about. The Chargers defense just never seems to be able to fully really
reach
shut
their
people down
potential.
and
Yeah,
and reach their potential. But also running game wise, I mean, look, Austin Eckler's a amazing weapon. He's getting you rush yards and tons of receiving yards. He's getting touchdowns all over the place, but he just doesn't have that RB1 factor where you can just line him up and
Yeah,
he's
like
going to get you
Leonard
the
can.
yards like Leonard Fournette can. And that's really the huge difference for me. When you have a Leonard Fournette, whether or not he's getting the touches is one thing, but that's what can make you the more complete team where you can run the ball down and run the ball down someone's throat the whole game if you need to because you have the personnel to. The Chargers, you kind of need the teams to play you a little bit softer,
Right.
have some breakdowns in their their run coverage to be able to really
Yeah, I
go
think
crazy running the ball.
I think the Bucks will be able to get back on track. Tom Brady, he plays well when weather starts to become a factor, and we're getting into late October. When weather does become a factor, the Chargers don't know what's going on with Keenan Allen. I don't know why he's not back yet. His hamstring,
Yeah.
they seem to be dragging it.
It's
and
tough with Keenan Allen too. He's so good, but he's
really
always
talented,
injury
yeah.
prone. Like he's it's almost every year. I mean, how many seasons have we seen him out for the year, either
Right.
before camp started or like a game or two into the season?
Right.
It's rough, but when he gets on the field, he's spectacular. But yeah, just always something with his injuries.
Yeah, so that's the downfall with the Chargers. The Bucks, I think eventually they're gonna get back on track. I think Brady's gonna pick it back up. He's not playing horrible. I think they're just playing really sloppy football, and it's really it's really not like what you normally see from a Tom Brady led offense. It could also be Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles is their head coach, and obviously Bruce Arians had everybody in a line, and Todd Bowles is more of a defensive guy, and that's maybe why the defense is shining so bright, and maybe the offense is taking a step back a little bit. But with all those weapons, I think they'll be able to get back on track.